He kissed her on Valentine's Day in the rain outside a cathedral where she'd gone to pray for her dying mother. And 1 year later, he showed up at her apartment with blood on his knuckles, a ring in his pocket, and 3 bodies in the trunk of his car telling her she had 10 minutes to decide if she wanted forever or if she wanted to run because the men who'd tried to take her were dead, but more were coming and he wasn't leaving without her. Welcome to Mafia Home Tale, besties. Please like, share, and subscribe. Madison Harper had never believed in fate until the moment she looked up from her mother's hospital bed at Mercy General and saw the man in the expensive black suit standing in the hallway watching her through the glass with an expression that made her forget how to breathe. It was February 14th, Valentine's Day. The day her mother's oncologist had told her there was nothing more they could do. 6 weeks maybe. 2 months if they were lucky. Madison had walked out of that meeting and straight into the hospital chapel because she didn't know what else to do. The chapel had been empty. Just her and the silence and the weight of knowing her mother was dying and there was nothing she could do to stop it. She'd knelt in the front pew, hands clasped, eyes closed. And she'd prayed for the first time since she was a child. Please, just let her have more time. Let her see me graduate. Let her know I'll be okay. Let her not be in pain. The door had opened behind her. She'd heard footsteps, heavy, confident, someone who walked like they owned the space. She hadn't turned around, hadn't wanted to be interrupted. The footsteps had stopped a few rows back, then silence. She'd finished her prayer, had stood, had turned. And there he was, tall, dark hair, eyes that were almost black in the dim light of the chapel. A suit that probably cost more than her rent. He'd been watching her, not starring, not leering. Watching like he was trying to memorize her face. Their eyes had met. Madison's breath had caught. Her heart had done something strange in her chest, something that felt like recognition even though she'd never seen him before in her life. He'd nodded once, a slight acknowledgement. Then he'd turned and walked out. Madison had stood there alone in the chapel feeling like something had just shifted in the world around her, something she couldn't name, something that made her skin warm and her pulse race. The next day her mother's hospital bill had been paid in full, every single cent. The financial coordinator had called Madison into her office looking confused. Someone called this morning. Anonymous donor, paid everything, the entire balance. Current charges, future treatment, everything. Madison's hands had gone numb. That's not possible. It's over $200,000. The coordinator had shown her the receipt, wire transfer, completed at 6:43 this morning. Madison had stared at the numbers. Who would do this? The coordinator had shrugged. They wouldn't give a name, just said to make sure Madison Harper knew her mother would have the best care available. Madison had walked back to her mother's room in a daze. Her mother had been sleeping, morphine drip keeping her comfortable. Madison had sat in the chair beside the bed and pulled out her phone, had Googled anonymous hospital donations, had found nothing that made sense. That evening, a nurse had brought flowers. Massive arrangement, white roses and lilies. The card had said only for your mother's recovery. No name, no signature. Madison had known somehow, the man in the chapel. It had to be. But why? Who was he? How had he known? 3 days later, Madison had been walking to her car in the hospital parking garage after a late shift visiting her mother when she'd heard footsteps behind her. Fast, too fast. She'd turned. 2 men, leather jackets. One had a knife, her purse. Now Madison's training had kicked in. She'd taken self-defense classes in college, had learned to fight back. She dropped her purse, had stepped back, had raised her hands. Then headlights had flooded the garage, a black car, expensive. The kind that moved like liquid. It had stopped between Madison and the men. The driver's door had opened, and he'd stepped out, the man from the chapel. He hadn't said a word, had just looked at the 2 men. They'd run, actually run, like they'd seen death itself. He turned to Madison. You hurt. She'd shaken her head, couldn't speak. He'd picked up her purse, had handed it to her. His fingers had brushed hers. That same electric shock. That same sense of something impossible waking up inside her chest. You paid my mother's bill. It wasn't a question. Yes, why? Because you asked for help, and I had the ability to help. Madison had stared at him. Who are you? Alessandro Vitale, and you're Madison Harper, nursing student, part-time barista, daughter of Catherine Harper, who's in room 412 with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Heat had flooded her face. You investigated me. I protect my investments. Your mother's treatment isn't cheap. I wanted to make sure it was going to someone who'd use it wisely. That's not an investment. That's charity. He'd smiled then. Small, almost amused. I don't do charity, Miss Harper. This is an investment. In what? In you. Words had landed like a physical touch. Madison's pulse had been everywhere. Throat, wrists, low in her stomach where his voice seemed to settle. I don't understand. You will. He'd opened his car door. Get in, I'll take you home. I have my car, which 2 men just tried to rob in a parking garage. I'll have someone bring it to your apartment tomorrow. Get in, Madison. The way he'd said her name had made her knees weak. She'd gotten in. The interior had smelled like leather and something darker. Cedar, maybe. Smoke, him. He'd driven in silence for 10 minutes. Then he'd said, "The men who tried to rob you work for someone I know. They won't bother you again. How do you know that?" "Because I told their boss what would happen if they did." Madison had looked at him, really looked. The expensive suit, the watch that probably cost more than her student loans, the way he drove like he owned the streets. "You're not a businessman, are you? Not the kind you're thinking of. What kind, then?" "The kind who solves problems other people can't. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you're getting tonight." He'd pulled up in front of her building, a walk-up in a neighborhood that wasn't great but wasn't terrible. She'd reached for the door handle, then had stopped. "Why did you help me?" "In the chapel, with my mother's bills, tonight." Alessandro had turned to look at her fully for the first time. "Because when I walked into that chapel and saw you praying, I felt something I haven't felt in 10 years. "What?" "Hope." The word had hit her like a confession. Then he'd gotten out, had walked around to her door, had opened it for her. "Get some sleep, Madison. I'll make sure no one bothers you. You can't just pay my mother's bills and rescue me and not explain. I can actually, but I won't." He'd pulled a card from his pocket, heavy stock, just a phone number embossed in black. "Call me when you're ready to understand." Ready to understand what? Why I can't stay away from you. That night, Madison had lain in bed staring at the card. Had Googled his name, Alessandro Vitale. The results had made her blood run cold. Italian businessman. Suspected connections to organized crime. Investigated multiple times, never charged. Owner of half the real estate in the city. Ties to the Vitale family, one of the oldest crime families in New York. She should have been terrified. Should have thrown the card away. Should have blocked his number if he called. Instead, she'd saved his contact in her phone. Had stared at it for an hour, had finally typed, "Thank you for everything." His response had come immediately. "You're welcome. Get some rest. You have clinicals tomorrow at 7. "How do you know that? I told you. I protect my investments. That's creepy. That's thorough. There's a difference, is there? Yes. Creepy would be showing up at your clinicals. Thorough is making sure you get there safely. I don't need a bodyguard. You do now. Why?" "Because you prayed for help and I answered. And now you're mine to protect whether you want to be or not." Madison's heart had slammed against her ribs. "I'm not yours. Not yet. But you will be. Give it time." The next morning, there had been a car waiting outside her building. Black sedan, driver in a suit, Miss Harper. "Mr. Vitale sent me to take you to the hospital." Madison had stared. "I can take the subway." Mr. Vitale insisted. "Your car is being detailed. It'll be delivered this evening." He'd opened the back door. Madison had gotten in because arguing seemed pointless. At the hospital, her clinical instructor had pulled her aside. "Madison, there's been a mix-up with your student loans. Apparently they've been paid." "All of them?" Madison's stomach had dropped. "By who?" "Anonymous donor. Same person who paid your mother's bills, apparently. They've also set up a stipend. 2,000 a month for living expenses while you finish school." She'd called him the second she was alone. "What did you do?" "Made sure you can focus on school instead of working 3 jobs. You can't just pay my student loans. I can actually. I did this morning. Stop doing this. Stop helping me." "Why?" "Because I don't know you, because this is insane." "Because I don't want to owe you. You don't owe me anything, Madison. This isn't about debt." "Then what's it about?" "You, me, the fact that I walked into a chapel and saw you and something woke up inside me that I thought was dead." "Alessandro, I'm not a good man. I do things that would horrify you. I've hurt people, killed people, built an empire on violence and fear." His voice had dropped. "But when I saw you, something changed. I can't explain it. I don't understand it. But I'm not walking away. You should." "Probably, but I won't. Give me a chance, Madison. Let me prove I can be what you need. I don't need a criminal. You need someone who'll burn the world down to keep you safe. And that's exactly what I am." 2 weeks later, her mother had been moved to a private room. Best care available. A team of specialists. Experimental treatment that was working, actually working. Madison had been sitting beside her mother's bed when Alessandro had walked in. Flowers in hand, expensive, beautiful. "Mrs. Harper," he'd said, "I'm Alessandro, a friend of your daughter's." Her mother had smiled. The drugs made her soft and happy. "You're the one who paid for all this. Guilty. You're an angel, not even close." "But I'd do anything for your daughter." Her mother had looked at Madison. "He's handsome, very handsome." Madison had wanted to die. "Mom, please, what? I'm just saying you could do worse." Madison had walked Alessandro out into the hallway. You can't just show up here. Why not? Because my mother thinks we're dadding. Aren't we? No, we've barely spoken. I've paid your bills, driven you home, made sure you're safe. Sent flowers. Called every day to check on you. That sounds like dadding to me. That sounds like stalking. Madison. He'd stepped closer, close enough that she could smell him. Cedar and smoke and something darker. I'm trying to do this right, trying to court you the way you deserve. But I'm not good at patience. And every day I don't have you is another day I'm half alive. This is insane. You don't know me. I know you pray when you're scared. I know you take your coffee black with 2 sugars. I know you hate the subway, but you ride it anyway because you're too stubborn to ask for help. I know you love your mother more than anything. I know you're strong and smart and so goddamn beautiful it hurts to look at you. Alessandro, give me a chance. One date. If you hate it, I'll walk away. You won't walk away. Probably not. But I'll try. One date. That's all I'm asking. The date had been on Valentine's Day, 1 year after they'd met in the chapel. He'd picked her up at 7, had taken her to a restaurant she couldn't afford, a place where you needed reservations months in advance. They'd talked for hours about everything. Her childhood, her dreams of becoming a trauma nurse, his plans to expand his business into legitimate territory. She'd asked him about the rumors, the crime, the violence. He'd been honest, brutally honest. I've done things I'm not proud of, Madison. Hurt people who threatened my family, killed men who tried to take what was mine. I run an organization that operates outside the law. I'm not going to lie to you and say I'm reformed. I'm not. I'm exactly what people say I am. She should have left, should have run, should have called the police. Instead, she'd said, "Why me? Why did you choose me? I didn't choose you, you chose me. When you walked into that chapel and prayed for help, you called out to something. And I heard it, I felt it, like a hook in my chest pulling me toward you. I've never believed in fate or destiny or God, but I believe in you. And I believe I was meant to find you. That's crazy. Yeah, it is, but it's also true. They'd left the restaurant, had walked through the city. It had started raining. Cold February rain. They'd ended up in front of the same cathedral where they'd met. Alessandro had stopped, had turned to look at her. Rain soaking his hair, running down his face. Madison, what? I'm in love with you. The words had hit her like lightning. Alessandro, I've been in love with you since the moment I saw you, since before I knew your name. And I'm not patient, I'm not good at waiting. I want you, all of you, every broken piece, every scared moment, every prayer. I want to give you everything, protect you, keep you safe, make sure you never have to be afraid again. I'm not asking you to love me back, not yet. But I'm telling you I'm not going anywhere, ever. She'd kissed him. Madison didn't even remember moving. Just that 1 second they'd been standing there in the rain, and the next her hands were in his hair and her mouth was on his, and he was kissing her back like she was oxygen and he was drowning. His hands had gone to her waist, pulling her closer. The kiss had been desperate, consuming, like he was trying to memorize her taste. When they'd finally broken apart, both breathing hard, he'd pressed his forehead to hers. Tell me you feel it too, the thing between them. Whatever this impossible connection was, I feel it. Good, because I'm never letting you go. That night had changed everything. Alessandro had become part of her life in ways she couldn't explain. He'd driven her to school, had sent lunch to the hospital when she was doing clinicals, had shown up at her apartment with groceries when he knew she was too tired to cook, had held her while she cried when her mother had a bad day. He'd been everything, gentle and fierce and impossibly devoted. He'd also been dangerous. She'd seen it. The way people looked at him with fear and respect. The way his men treated him like he was royalty. The phone calls he took in Italian that made his face go cold and hard. The nights he came home with scraped knuckles and blood on his collar. She'd asked him once, "What do you do when you're not with me? Things you don't need to know about. I want to know." "No, you don't, Madison. Trust me. Are you hurting people? Only people who deserve it. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I can give you." 6 months after their first date, Alessandro had taken her to meet his family. A massive estate outside the city. His mother had been elegant and terrifying. His father had been quiet and assessing. His brothers had been loud and protective. They'd all loved Madison immediately. "She's perfect for you," his mother had said in Italian, thinking Madison couldn't understand. But Madison had taken Italian in college, had understood every word. "She's too good for this life," his father had replied. "She'll make him better," his mother had smiled, "or he'll destroy her. Let's hope for the former." That night, Alessandro had taken Madison out to the garden, away from his family, had pulled her close. "I need to tell you something." "What, my family? This life, it's not just business, it's blood, it's legacy. It's violence that goes back generations. I can't walk away from it, I won't. Which means if you stay with me, you're choosing this world too. I know, do you? Because once you're in, you can't get out. There's no safe exit, no normal life. You'll always be a target, always be watched, always be mine. Alessandro, say yes to what? To forever, to marriage, to being my wife and the mother of my children and the queen of everything I've built. Say yes, Madison, or tell me to walk away and I swear I will. I'll disappear. You'll never see me again. You'll be safe. You're lying. About what? You can't walk away. No more than you can. This thing between us, whatever it is, it's permanent. It's in my bones. My blood, I can't walk away either, even knowing what you are, what this life is. I can't imagine being anywhere else. Then say yes. Yes, he'd kissed her, had pulled a ring from his pocket. His grandmother's ring, antique, beautiful, had slid it onto her finger. Mine, yours, forever. Forever. The engagement had lasted 3 months. 3 perfect months where Madison had finished her nursing degree and Alessandro had started transitioning some of his businesses into legitimate operations, and they'd planned a wedding that was supposed to happen in June. Then her mother had taken a turn. Sudden, unexpected. The cancer had spread to her brain. The doctors had given her days, maybe a week. Madison had been at the hospital when Alessandro had called. Come home. Now, something's wrong. I can feel it. I can't, my mom. I know, I'm sorry, baby. But you need to come home. It's not safe. What are you talking about? Just trust me, please. She'd left the hospital. Had gotten into the car Alessandro had sent. The driver had been one of his men. Marco, he'd driven fast, too fast. Had kept checking the mirrors like he was looking for someone. Miss Harper, Mr. Vitale wants me to tell you something. What? He said if anything happens, if we're stopped. You run, you don't look back, you run and you call this number. Marco had handed her a card, different from Alessandro's, another number. Who is this? His brother, Luca. He'll keep you safe if Alessandro can't. Marco, what's happening? I don't know, Miss Harper, but the boss is scared, and he's never scared. They'd made it back to Alessandro's penthouse without incident. He'd been waiting in the living room, packing. When Madison had walked in, he'd pulled her into his arms so hard it hurt. Thank God, you're okay. Alessandro, what's going on? Someone's making a move against me, against my family. I don't know who yet, but they're targeting the people we love. Your mother's hospital has been secured. I have men watching her. But you're the one they'll come for first. Why? Because you're my weakness. Everyone knows it. I've made it very clear that you're the one thing I value above everything, which makes you the perfect leverage. I should go back to the hospital. No, you should stay here where I can protect you. My mother's dying. I know, baby. I know, and I'm sorry, but I can't lose you. I won't. I'd rather she die alone than risk you. Madison had pulled back, had looked at him, really looked. His eyes had been wild, desperate, terrified in a way she'd never seen. You don't mean that. I do. I'd sacrifice anyone. Everyone to keep you safe. That's who I am, Madison. That's what you signed up for when you said yes. This isn't you. This is exactly me. He'd cupped her face. I love you more than my own life, more than my family, more than my soul. And I will burn this entire city to the ground before I let anyone take you from me. Do you understand? The attack had come that night, 2 a.m. Madison had been asleep in Alessandro's bed when she'd heard gunfire. Loud, close, too close. Alessandro had been up instantly, had pulled her out of bed. Get dressed. Now jeans, sneakers, nothing else. Madison's hands had been shaking. What's happening? They're here. Who? The people who want me dead. He'd opened a closet, had pulled out a gun, had checked the clip. Stay behind me. Don't run unless I tell you to. If I tell you to run, you go. You don't stop. You don't look back. You call Luca and you let him protect you. Alessandro, I'm not leaving you. You will if I tell you to. More gunfire. Closer now. Shouting in Italian. Alessandro had moved to the door, had looked through the peephole. How many? Madison had whispered. Too many. He turned back to her. I need you to listen very carefully. There's a panic room, through the bedroom, behind the bookshelf. Code is your mother's birthday. You go there now. You lock yourself in. You don't come out until I come get you. What if you don't come? I will. But if I don't, if something happens, Luca will come. He has the override code. Alessandro, please, I love you, Madison Harper, more than anything. Remember that. No matter what happens, no matter what you hear, I love you. He'd kissed her, hard and desperate. Then he'd pushed her toward the bedroom. Go, now. Madison had run, had found the bookshelf, had entered the code with shaking hands. The door had opened into a small room, concrete walls, monitors showing the penthouse. Food, water, a phone. She'd locked herself in. Had watched the monitors as Alessandro had stepped into the hallway. Gun raised. She'd seen his men, Marco, Dante, others she recognized. They'd formed a line, a wall between Alessandro and whoever was coming. Then the shooting had started. Madison had watched through tears as men had poured into the penthouse. 15, 20, more. Alessandro and his men had fought like demons. She'd seen Alessandro drop 3 men before they'd got close, had seen Marco take a bullet to the shoulder and keep fighting, had seen Dante go down. Then Alessandro had been surrounded. Madison had screamed even though he couldn't hear her, had pressed her hands against the monitor. They'd beaten him. She'd seen it, had watched him go down, had watched them kick him. Again and again. Then a man had stepped forward, older, expensive suit. He'd said something to Alessandro. Alessandro had spit blood at his feet. The man had smiled, had pulled out a gun, had pointed it at Alessandro's head. Madison had closed her eyes, had heard the gunshot through the monitors. When she'd opened her eyes, Alessandro had been on the ground, not moving. The man had said something to his people. They'd left, all of them, just walked out like nothing had happened. Madison had waited, had counted to 100, then 200. Then she'd unlocked the door, had stepped out into the bedroom. The penthouse had been destroyed, bullet holes everywhere, blood on the floors, bodies, so many bodies. She'd walked through like she was in a dream, had found Alessandro in the hallway. He'd been on his back, eyes closed, blood everywhere. Madison had dropped to her knees beside him, had pressed her hands to his chest. No pulse. She'd started CPR, had pressed on his chest. Counted, breathed into his mouth, had done it again and again and again. Alessandro, please, please don't leave me, please. She'd felt a hand on her shoulder, had turned. Luca, Alessandro's brother, younger by 2 years, same dark eyes, same dangerous edge. Miss Harper, he's gone. No, he's not. He's Madison. Luca had pulled her back gently. He's gone, I'm sorry. Madison had screamed, had fought against Luca's hold, had tried to get back to Alessandro, had wanted to keep trying, keep fighting. Luca had held her until she'd collapsed, until the fight had left her. Then he'd said, we need to go. They'll come back, let them, I don't care, you should. Because Alessandro made me promise to protect you if anything happened to him, made me swear on our mother's grave. And I keep my promises, I won't leave him. You have to. He's gone, Madison, but you're not. And he died to keep you alive, don't make it meaningless. Luca had taken her to a safe house, had given her a phone, had told her to call her mother's hospital. Madison had. Her mother had died 3 hours ago, peacefully, in her sleep. Madison had hung up, had sat on the floor of the safe house, had felt nothing. Everything good in her life was gone, her mother, Alessandro, everything. Luca had sat beside her. I'm sorry for all of it. Who killed him? The Rossi family, old rivals. They've been trying to take our territory for years. Alessandro had been holding them back. Now, he'd paused. Now they think they've won. Have they? No, because I'm going to kill every single one of them, and you're going to help me. What? You loved him? Yes, you want revenge. I want him back. That's not possible, but revenge is. And it's the only thing you have left. Madison had looked at him, seen the same rage she felt burning in his eyes. What do you need me to do? Stay alive, be patient. Let me build our strength back, when the time comes. When we're ready, you'll be the bait that draws them out. Why would I do that? Because Alessandro made me promise to protect you. But he also made me promise something else. What? That if he died, if someone took him from you, I'd help you make them pay, that I'd give you the tools to destroy them. Why? Because he knew you wouldn't want to just survive, you'd want justice. And he loved you enough to give you that choice even knowing it might destroy you. 6 months later, Madison had been working at Mercy General as a trauma nurse. Her mother's funeral had been small. Alessandro's had been massive. The entire Italian community had come. Madison had stood in the back, had watched Luca and his family bury Alessandro in the family plot, had watched them mourn. That night, Luca had come to her apartment. It's time. For what? To make them pay. I don't understand. The Rossi family thinks they've won. They've expanded into our territory. Taken our businesses. They're celebrating, getting sloppy. Tomorrow night they're having a party, all of them in one place, including the man who killed Alessandro. I'm going to end them, all of them. And I need you to be there. As what bait? The grieving girlfriend who's moved on, who's been seen around the city with Rossi's nephew, who's been playing the part of someone who wants to forget. Madison's blood had gone cold. I haven't been seen with anyone. Yes, you have. I've made sure of it. Photos, sightings. Rumors. Rossi believes you're vulnerable, that you're trying to move on, that his nephew has been courting you. It's all been carefully constructed. Why? Because tomorrow night when you show up at that party with Marco dressed as Rossi's nephew, they'll let you in. They'll think you're another trophy. Another way to humiliate Alessandro's memory. And when they're all together, when they're distracted, we'll strike. You want me to walk into a room full of the people who killed Alessandro? Yes, they'll kill me too. Not if I do my job right. And if you do yours wrong, then we both die, but we take them with us. Madison had said yes, had spent the next 24 hours preparing. Luca had given her a dress. Red, stunning. The kind of thing that would make men look, had given her a wire so small she couldn't see it, had taught her what to say, how to act, had made her practice until it was perfect. The party had been at a mansion outside the city. Huge, guarded. Madison and Marco had arrived in an expensive car, had walked up to the door hand in hand. Marco had been perfect, charming, confident. Had played the part of Rossi's nephew flawlessly. They'd been let in immediately. The party had been full of people, music, champagne. Madison had seen him across the room. The man who'd killed Alessandro, older now, grayer, but still the same, still wearing that same smile. Her hands had clenched into fists. Marco had squeezed her hand. Easy, not yet. They'd mingled. Madison had played her part, the grieving girlfriend trying to move on, the woman who wanted to forget. People had bought it. Had welcomed her, had thought she was weak, broken, perfect prey. Then Rossi had approached. Madison, he'd said, like they were old friends, "I'm so glad you could join us." She'd smiled, had forced it. "Thank you for having me. I wanted to express my condolences for your loss." Alessandro was, he'd paused. Well, he was in the wrong business. Sometimes these things happen. Madison's vision had gone red. She'd felt Marco's hand tighten on hers, a warning, "I understand." She'd said, "That's why I'm here." To move forward, to let go of the past. Smart woman. Alessandro would want that for you, would he? Of course, he loved you. I'm sure he'd want you to be happy, even if that happiness comes from his enemies. Rossi had laughed. "We weren't enemies. We were competitors. There's a difference." "Is there?" "Yes. Enemies kill each other, competitors simply win." Madison had looked him in the eye. "And you won." "I did. Must feel good." "It does actually." Rossi had leaned closer. "Tell me, Madison. Do you ever think about him? About what happened? Every day? Do you hate me for it?" "I don't know. Maybe I should. But mostly I just feel empty. That will pass. Trust me. Everything passes with time." Madison had smiled. "I hope you're right." At midnight, the lights had gone out. Madison had moved instantly, had pulled the knife from her thigh holster, the one Luca had given her, had found Rossi in the dark by memory, by rage, by the sound of his breathing. She'd put the knife to his throat, had whispered, "This is for Alessandro." Rossi had gone still. "Who? You know who?" "Madison Harper, Alessandro Vitale's fiancée. The woman you made a widow before she ever got to be a wife." "That's not possible. You're right here, with a knife at your throat. And you're going to die the way he died. Alone, afraid, knowing you lost." Then the lights had come back on, and Madison had seen them. Luca and his men, surrounding the room, guns drawn. Rossi's people had been on the ground, disarmed, controlled. It had been over before it started. Rossi had looked at Madison. "You set this up." "No, Luca did. I just played my part." "Why?" "Because you took the man I loved. And I want you to know what that feels like, to lose everything, to have it ripped away. To die knowing you failed." Luca had stepped forward. Any last words, Rossi? Rossi had looked at him, then at Madison. "He loved you, Alessandro, more than anything. I know, he died for you. I know that too. Was it worth it? Destroying my family for revenge?" "Yes, every single second." Madison had stepped back, had let Luca take over, had watched as Rossi had been dragged away, had heard the gunshot 10 minutes later. It had been over, all of it, the war, the revenge, everything. 1 week later, Madison had been in her apartment packing when someone had knocked. She'd opened the door and stopped breathing. Alessandro, standing in her doorway, alive, whole, blood on his knuckles, a ring in his pocket. She'd stared. "You're dead. I saw you. No pulse." "No, you saw what I needed you to see. What we needed Rossi to see. But bulletproof vest, makeup, a lot of planning. You faked your death. We faked my death. Luca and I, we knew they were coming. Knew we couldn't win a straight fight. So we changed the game. Made them think they'd won. Made them careless. Used you as the bait to draw them out. You lied to me. I protected you. The only way I could. By making you think I was dead. For 6 months. By making you grieve. By making you." He'd stepped inside, had closed the door. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Madison. But it was the only way to keep you safe. To make them believe you weren't a threat. If they'd known, if they'd suspected. They would have killed you, and I couldn't. I couldn't risk that. So you let me think you were dead. Yes, you let me plan revenge. Yes, you let me walk into that room knowing I might die. I was there, every second, watching, ready to move if anything went wrong. You were never in danger. I made sure of it." Madison had hit him, had slapped him hard across the face, had screamed. "How could you do that to me? How could you make me think I'd lost you? Because losing you would have actually killed me. But you thinking you'd lost me. That I could survive, that I could fix. Alessandro, I know I hurt you. I know this was unforgivable, but I'm here now. Alive, and I'm asking, begging for you to forgive me anyway. Why should I? Because I love you, because I did this to protect you, because I'd do it again if it meant keeping you safe." Because he'd pulled out the ring, his grandmother's ring, the one she'd given back to Luca after the funeral. "Because I'm not asking you to marry me anymore. I'm telling you. You're mine, Madison Harper. You've always been mine. From the moment I saw you in that chapel. And I'm not letting you go, not now, not ever, even if you hate me. Even if you never forgive me, you're still mine. And I'm still yours. That's not how this works. It is in my world. Madison had looked at him, at the blood on his knuckles, the desperation in his eyes, the ring in his hand. You're insane, probably, but I'm yours. And you're mine. Say yes. No. Say yes, Madison. I hate you. Say yes anyway. Why? Because you don't actually hate me. You're angry. You're hurt. But you don't hate me. You love me. Even now, even after everything, you love me. She'd kissed him. Had pulled him close and kissed him like she'd been drowning for 6 months and he was air. His arms had gone around her. Crushing. Desperate. The ring had fallen from his hand. Neither of them had cared. Later that night, lying in bed, Alessandro had said, I have 3 bodies in my car. What? The men who tried to hurt you 6 months ago. The ones Rossi sent. I've been handling them one by one. Why? Because no one touches what's mine, but that's not why I'm telling you. Why then? Because there are more coming. There will always be more. This life, my life, it's violent, it's dangerous. And if you marry me, you're choosing it too. Choosing to always be a target, always be watched, always be mine. I know, and I'm still saying yes, even knowing what this means, what it will cost. Yes, because loving you, being with you, it's worth the cost. It's worth everything. He'd slid the ring back onto her finger. Mine, yours, forever, forever. They'd gotten married 2 weeks later. Small ceremony, just family. Madison had worn white. Alessandro had worn black. Luca had been the best man, had smiled through the whole thing. After the ceremony, he'd pulled Madison aside. He would have actually died for you. You know that, I know, good, because now you're family. Which means I'll die for you too, if it comes to that. Let's hope it doesn't. Alessandro had appeared, had taken Madison's hand. Ready? For what? Forever. Yes, I'm ready. Good. Because I'm never letting you go. They'd left the wedding, had driven to the penthouse. Their penthouse now. Madison had looked at him in the elevator. No more secrets, no more faking deaths. No more using me as bait without telling me. Deal, promise, I promise, on my life, on our future, on everything I am, no more secrets. She'd kissed him. Good, because I have a secret too. What? I'm pregnant. Alessandro had stopped breathing. You're pregnant. About 6 weeks. From the night before you faked your death. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't know, found out last week. And I've been trying to figure out how to tell you. His hands had gone to her stomach. Gentle, reverent. We're having a baby, we're having a baby. When? 7 months. If everything goes well, everything will go well. I'll make sure of it. I'll protect you. Both of you, no one will touch you. Ever, I know. Promise me. I promise, Alessandro. I promise I'll keep them safe. No, promise me you'll let me keep you safe, both of you, that you won't fight me on security, on protection, on anything I need to do to make sure you're both okay. I promise. Good, because I love you, Madison. And I love our baby. And I will burn this entire world down before I let anything happen to either of you. I know. That's why I said yes. That's why I'm choosing this life, because I know you'll protect us. Always, always. 9 months later, Madison had given birth to a daughter. Sophia, named after Alessandro's grandmother. She'd been perfect, dark hair like her father, green eyes like her mother. Alessandro had held her for the first time and cried. Actually cried, tears running down his face while he'd looked at his daughter. She's perfect. She is. She's ours. Yes, our family, our future, everything. They'd brought Sophia home to the penthouse that had been rebuilt, reinforced, made into a fortress. Alessandro had hired a team of security, had made sure every entrance was monitored, every window bulletproof, every door reinforced steel. He'd been obsessive, paranoid, but Madison had understood. This was who he was, this was how he loved, by protecting, by making sure nothing could touch the people he cared about, and she loved him for it. Even when it was overwhelming, even when it was too much, she loved him. On their first anniversary, Alessandro had surprised her. Had taken her to the same cathedral where they'd met. The same place where he'd first seen her pray. They'd walked inside. The chapel had been empty, just like that first day. He'd knelt in the front pew, had pulled her down beside him. What are you doing? Thanking God for what? For you, for answering my prayers even when I didn't know I was praying. For giving me you, for giving me Sophia. For giving me a life I never thought I deserved. Alessandro, I mean it, Madison, I'm not a good man. I've done terrible things, things that should damn me, but somehow I got you. And that means somewhere someone thought I deserved a chance at redemption. He turned to look at her, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life earning it. Earning you, making sure you never regret saying yes. I won't regret it, ever, promise, I promise, on our daughter, on our family, on everything we've built. I promise I'll never regret choosing you. Good, because I'm never letting you go. They'd left the chapel hand in hand, had driven home to their daughter, to their life, to their forever. And Madison had known, had felt it in her bones, in her soul. In the same place that had called out to Alessandro that first day in the chapel. This was where she belonged, with him, in his world, in his life, in his heart. Forever.